That's not a parking place. There was this guy in my neighborhood who made everyone's life a living nightmare, and I'm talking about parking. So in front of my building, there's this public parking lot. It's just one row of spots where you park perpendicular to the street. Pretty standard stuff. The last spot is kind of tucked in the corner, which means you need all that space behind you to back out and leave. But this one guy, let's call him Tony, would park his car right behind the last parking spot. Not in a spot, just behind it, blocking whoever was parked there from leaving. I watched people deal with this for months. One lady literally abandoned her car there and called a taxi to work because she couldn't get out. Another guy waited 2 hours for Tony to come back, and Tony would just shrug like it wasn't his problem. Everyone complained, but nothing ever happened. The guy just kept doing it over and over. Then one day I had to park in that last corner spot. I got home from the grocery store, unloaded everything, and was inside for maybe 30 minutes. When I looked out my window, there was Tony's car, right behind mine, blocking me in. But here's the thing, I saw him park there. I watched the whole thing from my window, and that's when I realized something. Tony had no idea that my wife had a second car parked on another street. I called my wife and told her to bring her car over. She thought I was crazy when I explained my plan, but she was down for it. 20 minutes later, she pulls up and parks her car directly behind Tony's car. Now he's blocked in too. That's when I called the police. I told them someone parked illegally and was blocking my car in the parking lot. Could they please call the owner to move it? Here in Malta, the cops usually just call people instead of giving tickets right away. I went to my balcony to watch. About 10 minutes later, Tony comes running out of wherever he was. He's got his phone in his hand looking all annoyed. He walks up to his car, hits the unlock button, and then just freezes. Because behind his car is my wife's car, blocking him in completely. His face went from annoyed to absolutely furious in like 2 seconds. He's looking around trying to figure out whose car it is. Then he notices me on my balcony. I walk down there acting all concerned. Tony, what's wrong? The police just called me saying you're blocking my car and I need to leave for work. He's pointing at my wife's car going, I can't move. Someone blocked me in. This is insane. I just looked at him and said, well, that's what happens when you park in places that aren't actual parking spots. Maybe you should call the police. He got so mad, started yelling about how I did this on purpose and how I'm trying to trap him. I just shrugged and said I had no idea what he was talking about. That's not my car behind you. Then I pulled out my phone and called the police again, right in front of him. I told them the guy refused to move his car and was getting aggressive. They said they'd send someone over. Tony's face went white. He immediately started calling the police too. I could hear him yelling into the phone about how someone blocked him in and he needed help right now. 10 minutes later, 2 police officers show up. They look at the situation and immediately start laughing. One of them walks up to Tony and says, you do realize you're not parked in an actual spot, right? You're blocking this person's car. Tony starts arguing, but the cop cuts him off. He says, you're getting a fine for illegal parking. And pointing at my wife's car, he goes, we need to call the owner of that vehicle to move it so you can leave. The cop calls the number I gave them, which was my phone. I'm standing right there when my phone starts ringing. I answer it all casual like, hello? The cop's trying so hard not to laugh. He asks if I can move my vehicle. I look right at Tony and go, oh yeah, that's my wife's car. Give me 1 second, I'll go get her keys. Both cops just lost it. They're cracking up while Tony's standing there looking like he wants to explode. One of them tells me I'm getting a ticket too for parking illegally, 23 euros. I said that's totally fine. I'll pay it right now if you want. The cop hands both of us tickets. Tony gets fined. I get fined. But here's the difference. I was happy to pay 23 euros for the best revenge I've ever gotten. My wife moved her car. Tony moved his car. And the cop told him if they caught him parking there again, the fine would be way bigger. Tony never parked like that again. Every time I see him now, he won't even make eye contact.